Hi, this is Allie from the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I'm here to talk to you about what to do when you are going through an emotional crisis. So, first thing we are going to go over when we talk about an emotional crisis is why an emotional crisis is going to happen to you. So, usually there are a few different reasons why someone would go through an emotional crisis. So the first reason is something that we've talked about many times before, where it's your emotional guidance system kind of like sending out an alarm bell warning system to you that something you've just taken on or something you've just believed or something you've just accepted isn't in alignment with who you are, with your highest good, with your highest purpose, and you start to have this emotional reaction to it, and that's kind of your alarm system telling you that what you're doing isn't in alignment with you. Second thing that can happen is you may have actually been through like a healing process and you are getting rid of old stuff that's been there for a while that you haven't previously had the tools or the skills or the means by which to deal with, that you all of a sudden come into this place where you're healthier and you have the support and you have the systems in place that these old things that have been there for a while can start to come up and come out. And so sometimes it can feel like really out of left field, like you were going along in your life and everything was fine, and then all of a sudden you have like this crazy emotional reaction, and a lot of the times it's because you've done healing work and now old stuff is actually able to kind of surface and come out. And those are kind of the two main reasons why people will go through an emotional healing crisis. The other thing that can happen is when what you were doing that did serve you for a while stops being the thing that is going to serve you, and you resist letting it go. And then when that starts to happen, that's when you'll have another kind of like an emotional crisis. So when we talk about an emotional crisis, there are usually three ways that an emotional crisis is going to manifest. So the first way is you will just be living your life, everything's going along hunky-dory, you're just going through your process, you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden you just feel this really heavy sense of like anxiety or depression or sadness or anger or whatever it is that you kind of tend to be your emotional reaction to life, that just like overarches everything but doesn't seem to have come from anywhere. So this is the kind of thing where like yesterday you were happy and nothing in your life changed, and then today you're just like depressed and you can't get yourself out of your depression, and this depression lasts days and days and days or weeks or months or however long it takes you to kind of process your thing. The second way that an emotional crisis can manifest is when old destructive habits such as like an eating disorder or alcoholism or drinking or binging or any of these kind of things, so either an old thing that you thought you had dealt with or something that wasn't, like when your self-destructive habit flares up and is way worse than it usually is, that's also another sign that you're going through an emotional healing crisis, that you're going through an emotional crisis. And then the last way that it usually manifests is when your life falls apart. So this is where things that used to be fine with you, like your job used to be fine with you, your relationship used to be fine with you, all of these things used to be fine with you, and then all of a sudden it's like you can't get yourself to do it, you just hate everything, or everything is a struggle. And then the other thing is, when things that used to be easy and things that used to come to you just no problem, all of a sudden everything starts being really hard, and everything starts being this huge struggle, and things that should work don't work, and things that used to work don't work, and like all these terrible things just keep like these little crises in your life actually keep happening to you, and you just keep thinking like, why is my life falling apart? So those are the three ways that emotional crises tend to manifest in your life. Okay, so either just overarching sense of negative emotion, flare up of self-destructive behaviors that either you thought you had dealt with or you weren't as bad as they were now currently, or your life starts to fall apart, like just everything, like nothing works and everything bothers you. So when these emotional crises happen, I like to think of it like when your body gets an infection. And I feel like this is like the best way to look at it. Because when your body gets an infection, right? What it does is it'll spike a fever, you'll get diarrhea, you'll vomit, you'll feel awful, you'll get a headache, you'll be sweating, whatever. It looks like this big disaster. It looks like this big crisis. When your body is dealing with an infection and things are being burnt up and purged out and things are coming up so they can come out, it looks frightening, it looks scary. And we tend to be kind of the mindset that we want to shut down the symptoms, we want to shut down the vomiting, we want to shut down the fever, we want to like get it down, shut it off, because we're uncomfortable in it. It's uncomfortable, it's not comfortable, right? And but the thing is that in order to heal, and the fastest way to heal is really to let your body do the process. It's to let yourself like have that 24-hour flu or have that 48-hour, flu. And don't suppress the symptoms, don't suppress whatever, but support your body in doing what it's doing, right? Because it's doing the right thing. You want your body to get the infection out, and that's the way that it works. So like I said, like the healing, it looks like a disaster, it looks terrible, but when you understand what's happening, you understand that it's not actually a disaster, it's not terrible, it's the way the process happens. And so it's the exact same thing with an emotional healing. It's like, it's gonna look like a disaster, it's gonna feel like a disaster, it's gonna look and feel like everything's falling apart and it's this big emergency and we want to shut it down. But I'm telling you that the best way, the fastest way to move through your emotional crisis when everything is falling apart and everything feels terrible is not to shut it down, but to support yourself in what you're going through. So that's what I'm wanting to talk to you about today. So first thing is to understand that, of course, the first thing you're going to want to do is shut it down. Okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do is take on a whole bunch of new projects, take on a whole bunch of new responsibility, take on a whole bunch of new relationships, because those things are going to be a distraction for you. You're going to want to fill your life with a bunch of things that distract you from your emotional crisis, okay? Second thing you're going to want to do is you're going to think that, that negative self-destructive habit is the problem, right? So then you're going to be like, oh man, like maybe I just like, it's my weight, so I just need to diet, and I just need to, really focus on my food, and really focus on my exercise, and really focus on my body, and really, really focus on this thing, when really that's the distraction, right? Like we talked about and we've talked about this in several different videos, where, we will create these distractions for ourselves, these self-destructive habits as distractions for ourselves, in order to block us from actually dealing with what's going on emotionally under the surface. So of course you're going to want to dive into your eating disorder. Of course you're going to want to dive into your overeating. Of course you're going to want to dive into alcoholism. You're going to want to dive into your drugs. Or you're going to want to dive into like really dealing with not drinking, or not, like, that kind of thing is going to come up. And so what I'm saying is, this is all normal. To want to dive into a bunch of distractions when you're having an emotional upheaval is just like the desire to take something to kill your fever, or something to kill the vomiting, or whatever, because, right, it's uncomfortable and we don't want to go through the process. But what I'm saying is, like I said before, the fastest way to get through it and the fastest way to deal with it is to let it happen, okay? So here are my 6 things that I recommend that you do when you're going through an emotional crisis. Okay, so step number 1, rest. Okay, and again, I get it. This is going to be the last thing you're going to want to do. Okay, but the more you give yourself space and time to rest and relax, the faster this stuff is going to move through. Okay, so sleeping extra, sleeping in, taking naps, not pushing yourself to go for that extra workout, not pushing yourself to make gourmet meals for your family every night, not pushing yourself to work 45 extra hours a week, giving yourself space and time to rest. And I get it, right? You're going to have all these reasons and all these excuses and all of this stuff why rest isn't possible. But know that that's your emotional crisis talking, okay? You need to rest, extra rest. Step number 2, don't take on any new projects. So again, right, you're going to want to fill your life with stuff. You're going to want to fill your life with, like, let's take on a spiritual class. Let's take on 75 new clients. Let's take on a boot camp. Let's take on, adopting 7 children. Just like, you're going to want, again, to fill your life with a bunch of stuff that distracts you from what's going on. But again, that's just like putting a Band-Aid on top. So don't take on anything new. Don't start any new projects. Don't start any new responsibilities. Don't take on any new classes. Okay? Let your life be what it is right now. Don't take on new stuff. Okay, perfect. So resting, not taking on new stuff. Okay, I wrote this down. And then the third thing that I suggest that you do, journaling. It's funny that I got my journal. Well, I forgot. So journaling, what you want to do, journal what you're thinking about first thing when you wake up in the morning. Right when you wake up, and all the thoughts, like your subconscious is active and you haven't logicked your way through things, write out what you're feeling. Write out what you're thinking. This is going to be one of your easiest and fastest ways to really get into what it is you're actually trying to purge out and what it is you're actually trying to get rid of, by writing down what you're thinking about first thing in the morning. And then again, write down what you're thinking about when you go to sleep. These are 2 times when our logic brain and our, distraction brain can kind of be turned down a little bit, and we can really start to delve into what's really going on and what's really trying to surface and what's really trying to go up. Because again, it's not that you don't know. It's not that it's a big mystery. It's just that we're really good at distracting ourselves and running away and not listening to ourselves. So when an emotional crisis happens, we can feel like we don't know what's going on. We can really feel like we're just like, whoa, this is coming out of left field. I have no idea what's going on. But the thing is, you do. You just need to get yourself in a space and a place where you can listen and you can hear. So journaling first thing in the morning, journaling last thing at night. The fourth thing, moving your body but gently. So I'm not telling you to go train for a marathon. I'm not telling you to go, do 75 hours of hot yoga. I'm saying, like, go for a walk. Do a nice gentle yoga practice. Do a dance class. Moving your body can be one of the most amazing ways to move stuck emotions, to move stuck feelings, to move stuck stuff, and help it come out into your brain in a clear way that you will understand. Like, I've had so many revelations during a yoga practice that it's like, oh man, okay, this is what's been bothering me, right? So just move your body gently and see what comes up. It's quite cathartic and quite magical. Number 5 is to practice all your self-love tools. So everything you know to do to take care of yourself, nourishing yourself with good food, even though that's not what you want to do right now, nourishing yourself with baths, nourishing yourself with massage, nourishing yourself with just all, like, sleeping in your duvet, like all of these things that you at this moment are going to not want to do at all because you're not going to want to take care of yourself. Those are all the things that you need to do right now, okay? So really taking that time to just, like, self-love. So having breakfast, having lunch, having dinner, going grocery shopping for yourself, taking a bath, taking a nice long shower, getting a massage with essential oils, just putting essential oils around your house so your house smells nice. Like, all of these things that are self-care are so important right now. And it's going to it's going to help move this stuff through. This is like the supporting your body while it's having the fever rather than shutting off the symptom. That's what this is. And then last thing, talk to somebody. Okay? Because I know that when you're going through an emotional crisis, all you want to do is run away and hide and go under the duvet and not talk to anybody and not tell anybody that you're struggling and not telling anybody that you're feeling terrible. But talking about it with someone who can hold space and just listen for you without needing to give you advice is amazing. So if you have friends who can do that, great. If you need to hire a life coach for like 1 or 2 sessions, do that. Because it's so powerful to give yourself the space and the time to just, like, talk about what you're feeling. And again, right, it'll help you process that surface stuff that isn't what's going on so you can get to the real issue. Okay, so that's my talk on what to do when you're in an emotional crisis. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them below. And if you have anything that you would like me to talk about, again, I'm totally happy to do that. And until next time, have a great day. Talk to you later.